Hey guys, this is Kati. My husband and I work here on the farm. Our boys love helping out when they aren't doing school, especially if it involves helping their cousins bottle feed our newest additions on the farm. I'm usually the one you'll talk to if you're interested in receiving our daily verses, so don't hesitate to contact us. Have a great day, and thanks for listening to today's episode of Around the Supper Table. We pray God is working in your life as you are reaching towards Him and His love. Commitment is freedom. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth into those things which are before. I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Philippians 3:13-14. A commitment to improve ourselves through Christ can seem to be bad and restrictive, but with a manageable plan and follow-through, it is actually freeing. It has been said that if you want something different, you have to do something different. The first key to making a change in your behavior is making a commitment. You must see the goal you are walking towards, know that it is worthwhile, and have a desire to walk it, no matter the obstacles that come. In this commitment, you become single-minded. When I first committed my life to Christ, I wanted confidence. I was a shy wallflower, so I wanted to be able to have conversations with people, to give my opinion instead of just answering questions, and maybe even introduce myself or help someone else that felt uncomfortable. At the time, I was so uncomfortable in my own skin that I avoided people like the plague, and when forced into situations, I was sure not to talk or probably move unless given a job to do. For me, when I began to pursue confidence over anxiety, I had to overcome the thought that this was my lot in life. I was a quiet kid, therefore I would always watch life from the outside and not participate. I didn't think that I had anything to offer people other than anxiety and stress. I had to believe that God had more for me and that I could live with purpose free of fear. This, in some ways, may have been the hardest step to take. I had to start with changing my mindset and my perception of self. Once you've made up your mind and committed yourself, start small. Whatever you choose to do, make it as small and manageable within your current life. Don't make a plan to change all of your habits tomorrow. It won't work. For me, I had to, despite my feelings, not avoid people. I had to know that even if I had nothing to give, I could be present. This wasn't easy, and many times it wasn't pleasant. Thank goodness I had patient and kind friends that are still in my life 20 years later. As you begin to make these small sacrifices and see yourself in a new light, you'll see more and more things that you can do to reach your goal. Eventually, I began interjecting into conversations even when it was awkward, and I felt queasy and began to sweat. At times, I got into arguments because I didn't understand nuances of interactions, and I am still often confused about how to respond to people. But as I've gained confidence through Christ, I've been able to start looking out. I don't just think about my suffering and nervousness. 1 John 3:17. I am not perfect by any measure, but I can tell you that in the areas of my life that I have committed to Christ, He has shown me more of Him and allowed relationships to develop and mature that I could not have created or sustained. The discipline that I've committed to walking has been rewarded handsomely and brought freedom to love that I could not have imagined before my commitment. But Christ could not give until I reached toward Him and made little changes daily. So commit, make a plan, amend it, try again until you can begin chipping away at your own selfishness and allow Christ in your life daily. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Matthew 7:21.
So, Katie, when we come to a point of change in our lives, what do you think really sparks that change?
At the beginning, it was like I talked about, it was that uneasiness, that nervousness, like watching other people. They had something I didn't have, like comfortableness, confidence. I wish sometimes I would just change because I wanted to change, or I was just good. And I don't know. I'm sure at some level it is because we're good, but it's always accompanied by like the oyster with the sand and the is it the oyster with the sand?
Yes.
The sand in the shell that turns into a pearl. It's like it always starts with an irritation. It seems like, or like a rock in your shoe. Like it always starts with uncomfortableness for whatever reason. I don't know. As much as I don't know, I want it to just be, oh, I just decided I wanted something different.
I think to a lesser extent, the story of the man who had a fishing boat, small fishing boat, and he fished most of his adult life, and finally came to the point he was retiring. So he sold his boat, but the conditions of the sale was that they had to rename the boat, but he got to take it out one last time, and so he took it out for the last time, and it said that whenever he got out there, he took the life ring on the boat, which had its name on it, and he was going to throw it in the water, and as a memorial, he said, you'll float forever. So he took the life ring and he threw it in the water, and it sank immediately. And he sat back and he said, I've had confidence in something that would not support me all these years. I wonder if it were possible for us to look at our lives and everything that we feel is not rewarding, not satisfying, not gratifying, that it is not revealing of our true self. If we look at that and go, well, that's not good. That's not real. I don't need to rely on that.
Yeah.
That's like that life ring. I've created in my life an alternative me to exist in the midst of the fear, and yet it won't save me.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that because people would respond to me, or I would see other people, and I could tell by their reactions. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to convey. Like I wanted to convey love or peace, or even like just interject, hey, did you know? And obviously by the reaction, it was what was coming out wasn't me. There was a lot of fear mixed with it, even when I didn't overtly have the intention to. So yeah, there's a lot of relying on, I guess, fear and mistrust, even when we don't realize it. Which, is terrifying. Yeah.
But sometimes it's like
because that's what saved us.
Stepping out on the ice. And people say, well, why in the world would you want to step on ice? Well, because if I need to go from point A to point B and the ice is there and I can get over on the ice, I've succeeded dramatically instead of going, well, I got to wait till the summer. I got to wait till the ice melts. I can't do this way. If we all looked around and said, what do you think Jesus was like? Because, you think about it. He grew up not an orphan, but he grew up without a father, probably from the time he was 12 years old. His dad taught him carpentry, but he died. And he was the oldest, so he had the responsibility of his mom and his siblings. But he wasn't afraid to draw back. He was confident in the fact of who God had made him, and that was good. That was good. We can all look in our lives at our times of failure and wishing we weren't us. Oh my God, why did I do that? I can remember things I did, and I'm like, oh God, why did I do that? And it was out of fear of doing it that I went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
So if we can look at our life and go, you know what? God made me good. He didn't make me bad. He didn't make me deficit. He made me to be everything that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, that's good. I mean, what did he say once he created the plants and the animals and all that? He said, and it is good.
Mm-hmm.
To think about God being there at our birth, and he looks down and he says, that's good. That's good. That's good. Nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we're so conditioned to believe that something is wrong
Mm-hmm.
with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
because we live in a fallen world.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could break that shell and just go, I'm free. I'm free in the Lord. I'm free to be what he wanted me to be. And I can be free to know that what's within me is good. It's me that hesitates. It's me that holds
Mm-hmm.
it back. It's me that's scared that makes it come out as scared and withdrawn and shy and all that stuff.
Well, I think I don't know the word. It's taught so often and so much and so, I guess, cultural that it's so hard to separate it. Because even like there's sometimes where it's like, I know this isn't truth or this isn't confidence, but I've done it so many times and it's been encouraged so many times, even a response out of fear, a response out of not confidence, that I still do it because I don't know. Because maybe the fear of disapproval of men, I don't know. The fear of doing the unknown.
Sometimes the fear of something actually brings it on. It's like when I was growing up, I was always called shy. Well, when they said, well, why is he shy? Well, he's afraid to talk. He's afraid he'll say something wrong. He'll do this or that. He's afraid of the response. Well, okay, that's me.
Yeah.
I can live
that's
that
why
up.
I'm not talking. Yeah.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
And until you just go, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Oh, God didn't make me that way.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to be it, but I can unlearn it.
Yeah. And I'm going to be wrong. And
Yes.
I'm going to say stuff that you probably don't want me to say, but I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a wrong person.
Right. I'm not wrong person. And if I say it, I can always correct it.
Right.
I can always
Right.
go, well, that's not exactly what I meant.
Yeah, I may have said it, but that's not what I meant.
Yeah,
Or
you're not stupid.
I can change
you're
my
just
mind.
ill-trained.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
if we could go beyond that and be bold,
Mm-hmm.
be bold in the Lord in saying, God made me good, and He made me confident. And anything that is not good and not confident that I see in my life has been man-altered.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's
That's so
man-altered,
hard, yeah.
it's God-restored.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's so hard because, even with parenting, sometimes I think I'm shaping behavior, and I'm like, they have to do this or they have to do that, and it's like, because God said, or because I think that like I said, it's so much part of our culture. It's like assumed kids should do this, or kids should either learn this or react this way, and it's like, wait a minute. If God created them, I know they're good kids.
Mm-hmm.
Not that kids don't need discipline. Not that kids don't need correction. It's not that. But, like, if it ain't going the way it's supposed to be going, is it me fighting culture or God? Or
Well, see, I think it's like us taking a little rabbit and teaching him how to jump. When reality is, the rabbit's going to jump anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's the very nature of it. And sometimes if we leave people alone,
Right.
they become more like God, more spontaneous, more alive, rather than structured and fearful and guarded and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And not that you don't. We're not advocating for what is it? I don't know the word for it, but like no correction. If they're defiant, not correcting children, but letting them be who God created.
I am of the opinion that if we presented 50% less control of our children, that the circumstances themselves are going to create the dilemma enough to prove to them, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
How'd that work out for you? Not very good. Okay, here's what you could do to alter that.
Right.
It's not that correction is bad, but correction at a wrong time
Right.
is a great intimidator.
Right, or correction out of fear.
Yes, it restricts you.
Yeah.
And you're fearful of doing things because, like, I am wrong, then all that's wrong is going to come out of me.
Right. Or the correction without the teaching, because it's just no, but not,
Yeah,
but this is what you can do.
yeah, yeah.
This was out of this behavior, or this was out of this intent, but this is what I expect from you.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kid eating soup with a fork. And you're kind of like, that you can't get there. What about the spoon? Give it a try and see how it works for you.
But the Bible doesn't say you have to eat a spoon with a fork, so.
No. But he makes a way for innately within us.
Yeah.
We're going, wow, that does work.
Yeah, right,
That
right.
does work.
Right.
That does accomplish. And when we understand that there's purpose in our lives, and if we're not fulfilling that purpose, which you can't be if you're intimidated and fearful and all that, but if you're fulfilling that purpose, you're going to be happy and content. Now,
And yeah.
is everybody going to be pleased with you? No, but it didn't have to be. We don't care. There's some people out there that are so miserable, they believe they have to conform everybody to their misery or they're not happy. And I'm like, well, you go ahead and be miserable. I don't care. But okay, well, write us a manual on how to do it. And sometimes you got to get to the other side to see. I'm like, some people are like, I had a whale that I was keeping from turning over on me, and I pushed on that whale until the whale couldn't harm me. And then I walked away and I realized I wasn't doing anything. It wasn't going to do it anyway. Here I was struggling to achieve something that I didn't need to achieve in that way. I didn't need to be perfect. I didn't need to be, if I am like my father taught me to be, I'd be a miserable person like he was.
Right.
I don't want to be.
And why would I pass that on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would I pass it on except the stupidity of, that's what I learned.
And it's safe because you can't make mistakes because you're not doing anything.
Yes.
But it's a miserable life.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We gravitate to peace, love, joy, and freedom. We do not gravitate to the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
When given the opportunity.
Write your book on child raising, and we'll hear you the next time.
Like I said, when I get it figured out, I'm on it.
Thanks, Kati.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, thanks for joining us for Around the Supper Table. At Sanctuary Family Farms, we want to be real. Whether that's through our blogs, daily verses, or even Nana's recipes, we want to share the messages that God has laid on each of our hearts. If you liked what you heard today or want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Sanctuary Family Farms or our website at www.sanctuaryfamilyfarms.com, where we share our recipes and blogs and sell farm fresh beef and pork. We can't wait for you to join us again for next week's episode.